And welcome to Healthcare Sucks, where we bring you what's really going on out there with a little spice of what's really going on out there. All right, tonight we're going to jump right into it. It looks like they're trying to reopen the states. There's all this controversy. The president said this, the governors say this, the people said, we want it open now. Good, bad, ugly. Here we go, guys. Let's check it out and see what they have to say.
Good evening. Remember that unity and resolve to bend the curve, to stay home and save lives? It's being tested tonight across an America still facing death on a staggering scale, over 36,000 so far. But also an America impatient to rebuild a crumbling economy, a restlessness stoked by the president today as governors across the country weigh their next steps. We've got it covered tonight, starting with Gabe Gutierrez.
Across the country, from offices to restaurants to air travel, a patchwork of plans to restart the economy.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We are not really even halfway through, even though we've hit the peak.
State by state, the rules are dizzying. From Georgia to Louisiana to Arizona, many have stay-at-home orders that expire on April 30th. Others, like New York and Connecticut, have already extended theirs through at least May 15th. Missouri's governor wants residents to go back to work on May 4th, but the mayors of St. Louis and Kansas City will keep their stay-at-home orders through mid-May at least.
We're just not putting an end date on it, but we are committing to reevaluating this continually.
From New Jersey to Minnesota today, new protests demanding an end to the shutdown. Today, beaches reopened in Jacksonville, Florida. In Texas, the governor started easing some restrictions on state parks and elective medical procedures, but said schools should stay closed for the rest of the academic year.
We must be guided by data and by doctors. We must put health and safety first.
A new poll finds that by a 2-to-1 margin, Americans are more concerned that social distancing restrictions will be rescinded too quickly than too slowly.
It frightens me to think of opening up areas of the city and then going backwards again.
Experts warn that to reopen the economy safely, there must be testing on an unprecedented scale. Here in New York, as new sites opened today, the governor issued an executive order directing all labs to coordinate with the state to ramp up testing.
This is mayhem. We need a coordinated approach between the federal government and the states.
And new research from Stanford University suggests that the number of people infected could be up to 85 times higher than the official count. The study found that up to 4% of those tested in one California county had COVID-19 antibodies.
And my head is just spinning.
23-year-old Matt Newey from Utah survived coronavirus. He's skeptical of easing restrictions.
I would say we really need to take this slow and be very cautious because this could easily get out of hand again.
As America's death toll surpasses 36,000, today a moving tribute for Newark police officer Daniel Francis. He was just 51 years old. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, New York.
And with that, guys, I think you're keeping up with it like I am. It's just nutty. I mean, it comes back to the question, I guess, how severe is this really? Is this? Well, we know it's severe. We know it's real. We just don't know all the in-between still. It's definitely a lot more, like we've discussed, without me going over and over about it, than meets the eye. Either they're getting ready for the one world government to kick in, or two, we've got some kind of disaster coming that's going to be major. And this was a beta run. In addition, what it was is they don't let no good sickness go to waste, or good war or good tragedy go to waste. Just like 9/11, they couldn't wait Bush Sr. to do the act, the Patriot Act, and all these acts that brought down the agencies that could oversee other agencies, where they used to be all separated. Then Homeland Security came in and that's exactly what Daddy Bush wanted. And we all know how evil Daddy Bush is. If you don't, feel free to look that one up. With that being said, though, guys, there seems to be a lot more afoot than they're telling us. I find it very unique, though, that all the old folks' homes seem to be getting targeted. That tells me that this was engineered for the elderly and to thin out the population as a population thinning tool. What really makes me think this is an Agenda 21 tied into this. I really do. Then you got Mr. Agenda 21 himself speaking up Gates. Gates is the biggest scumbag in the world. I mean, he, from one thing to another, you can't believe a word that comes out of that guy's mouth. The only people that are useful is little slaves that he can control and you have a use. There really isn't much difference than him and Epstein. They're probably along the same lines, just different factors and stuff. And I don't say that without doing a lot of thinking about how evil they both were. Oh, wait, one is and one supposedly ain't. That rumor's still going around. You notice all of a sudden his two co-partners, the girlfriend and the other partner, are like off the radar. It's all over now. They sure quieted that down quick, didn't they? You know, if you look at how many things just disappeared that we were all waiting to hear about, and everything's been pushed aside now for this big WUHAN 19. The WUHAN 19. Yes, the WUHA is a monster, and it's taking its toll. I just, I feel very uneasy with the people it's targeted from day one. I mean, I think a really healthy, or excuse me, unhealthy dose of the infection factor, let's say, I mean, a really big dose of it can get anybody when it's at its full strength. And I'd like to say it like this, when it's maybe not at full strength or just a little bit of contact with it in various ways, maybe a little less, if that makes any sense, guys. I mean, in other words, maybe not a whole cough and spit in somebody's face, but a little bit on a piece of plastic that's set around for a day or two, but still active for up to a week. That kind of thing. As far as getting into the old people, it makes me wonder about foods. It makes me wonder about treatments they've had. It makes me seriously take another look at plane farts. And you guys know what those are. So there's a lot of things going on that definitely we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Because this thing ain't over yet. And then with going back and everything's all good, we're going to have to really watch as they open this up to see if this thing goes away or comes back a second time. What's the reinfection rate? Can you get it a third time? I mean, we're going to be looking at these things. Also, once you get it, I believe, in addition to them cataloging everybody's DNA and stuff for one world government, one world agenda, etc., I believe that once you get it, you possibly, it doesn't go away, guys. I think you're a carrier, maybe even for life, a possibility of that. And I don't mean to scare people, but the more research and the more I've looked at it myself and all the other things going on, it sure seems like, and they use that Privacy Act too, to not let us know what really is going on. Just like if you're in one of those old folks' home and two doors down, they've got it. I mean, wouldn't you want to jump the hell out of there and get the hell out of there if somebody two doors down had it? However, are you infected too? And that's how bad this is. Once it infects, does it infect a whole apartment complex? Does it infiltrate all the way into the whole old folks' home? Well, on the old folks' home, we can definitely say that's a definite. So there's a lot of things. I'd like to know your guys' opinions on this too. Because between us, we can work this out and kind of weed and thread the needle, so to speak, guys. Because, you guys are smart. By the way, hello, Team 99. Thank you for tuning in. And anybody else, this is Healthcare Sucks. Welcome to the show where we bring you the news and we don't candy coat. We use the Fair Use Act. Notice I didn't look away this time? Yeah, I almost remembered it all. And nothing here is real until that WUHAN monster is knocking at your door. And he's still knocking, even though they're going to let people out and play at the beaches apparently today. And it's all done. It's all gone. It was never here. All those people died for no reason. They just were sick with the flu, right, guys? I mean, that's one way of thinking, is just this is another flu. Just because the numbers haven't astroplaned, that's the way maybe they're controlling it for right now. Maybe this has the potential to do a lot more and get a lot bigger. Maybe they're going to kick it in harder at a later time. You know, I honestly believe that this is a combination of several things. I go back to the Joker, and when he put the certain things in the lipstick, certain things in the shampoo, and they were fine until you mixed them together, and then all of a sudden you got this. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Not to say this thing isn't traveling and being, initially it wasn't airborne, then we found it was. Everything was all at spitty ones, and you can only spitty one 6 feet. I want to tell you though, I really, with this 2-week waiting thing, especially from the day the president came out and said, in about 2 weeks it's going to do this and do that. That kind of keeps everybody on edge for 2 whole weeks. That's half a month. Think about that for a minute. Locking down the huge population that's locked down for 2 weeks. And then longer. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this and see what happens. I'm digging deep, guys. I've been researching some things. And when I get a little deeper, we're going to do a show and we're going to bring you all the different... I've done some of that, brought you all the different opinions. But I can tell you right as we end this tonight, the president isn't... Anybody that's watched the president like I have since day one, he's not the same president right now. I mean, once in a while he seems to break free. Let's say if he was under some kind of control or threat or whatever, he seems to break loose a little and start to come back to the old president. But then snap, he's right back. And it's just not his way. Go back and watch the president since day one. He's a tiger. Now he's more of a becoming, I hate to say it, a lamb. And he's not a lamb. So there's something definitely wrong there, guys. And we can't trust the world, especially the United States, which the U.S. is involved with all your other countries out there, guys. And a lot of your people are doing strange things too. Boris Johnson got sick. He made it, but he's off the radar. The Queen did her little spiel, and she's never done it in how long? But she came out to tamp things down. Some really strange things, guys. So I love you. I'm praying for you. By the way, if you haven't checked, check your food stamps, even if you spend them. Depending what state you're in, you should be getting some extra food stamps. And the checks are arriving. Of course, not for us deplorables. We'll be a Nancy Pelosi special getting our crumbs when we're lucky enough to be handed them. And then with that, this has devastated more than just one check, guys. They should have gave 6 months worth of these peanuts. You know what we're talking? 2.2 trillion, guys. And out of that, most of it got sucked up for the banks and Wall Street. And it's just wrong. There's no way the banks and the Wall Street needed that kind of money. And I'm not happy about it. I don't think you guys are happy either. But what do we do? What do we do? Go back and watch some of my videos a few back when I'm talking about United, Team 99, 99%. Keep that in your mind, guys. This is our opportunity. I really feel we're being gifted an opportunity to maybe retake America by vote. I'm not saying violence, none of that kind of stuff. I would never do that. But what I'm saying is by vote, by YouTube, by Facebook, by any kind of Instagram, whatever you use out there, social media. Start getting it together, guys. And if we don't see the left and the right doing anything besides screw us like they've been doing, let's start thinking about third party. And let's all put our votes on a third party wheel this time. What the hell? You know, if we all did, and that person wasn't nominated, it might just show you how set up it really is, wouldn't it? And fixed. Well, I'm going to parlay out, and I'll be back. And healthcare sucks! I love seeing you guys again. Yeah, you back there? And you back there eating the carrot? And you, hey, is that pizza? I didn't even get pizza tonight. Come on. You got to share the pizza, man. Love you all. Have a good night.